tap the microphone head. And then do mine. Yeah. What were we going to talk about here? Oh yeah, achieving elite performance. Yeah. The glasses, I think, should be put on.
You think we should do that? Okay.
I think lessons you can learn from jiu-jitsu that will help you achieve in other areas of your life. Yeah.
It's stupid, isn't it?
All right.
So, yeah, it's about your whole grappling with life. Probably read fast, you know?
Yeah. And then we'll maybe touch on the questions if we need to.
Okay. Do it.
Episode 21.
21, baby.
We actually made it.
We did it.
Maybe move your microphone closer to your
far away.
to your muzzle, to your snout.
I can just about see you.
Yeah.
Did it look convincing as an ape?
Well,
I've had to do that to look to see, like...
Are you an ape or a monkey?
Apes, aren't we? Really?
But
right now. The costume.
Yeah.
It's an ape costume.
It's an ape. How do we know it's an ape?
Because I've got a tail.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Have you learned nothing?
Welcome to episode 21. Firmly cementing us in the top 1% of podcasts.
Indeedy doody.
I got sent a thing about this from a dear friend. And I think what it said is that there was like actual numbers for how many podcasts there are in the world. I'm going to get the numbers wrong, but I think the top 1% meant there are like 20,000 podcasts left after you get past episode 20.
Yeah. The same dear friend texted me the other day and said the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like it's in the millions before 1%, isn't it?
It's like 2 million or something.
Yeah.
Like, well, would 20,000 be 1% of 2 million? 200. Yeah, it would be. Yeah. So 2 million podcasts are like out there in the ether, I guess. I guess that number's always going up. But although no, it wouldn't be going up, would it? Because like people would stop. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not a mathematician. I'm not a statistician.
No.
We've established this.
Yeah, we're not.
There's a lot of things that I'm not, and that is on the list.
Yeah, me too.
Primate expert is on the list.
Yeah, that's up there. I've been doing well.
But yeah, 20. So our competition for other podcasts who we're competing against is only another 19,999.
Yeah.
And how many of those are jiu-jitsu podcasts?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
100%.
No. I 100% agree with your statement or your question. Yeah, it's a milestone, man. We should be proud of ourselves.
Yeah. So if
you shit for 20 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been following along, you might have some idea why we're in these outfits.
If not, just go with it.
Just go with it. Don't question it. Just go with it.
I mean, yeah. We were planning to not even address it, weren't we?
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
You know, wait for the comments to come in.
I'll give you the full. I've got the.
Come on, look at those thighs. Come on, you can crack walnuts with them fuckers.
So, I don't have the t-shirt though. I don't have the rash guard, which would complete the set.
Oh, you are the leopard skin tattoo is torso tattoos coming up though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that episode 100?
Epidermal. Yeah. It's, you know what, like, I think getting to episode 21 hasn't felt like a big bind, but like we're not really like seeing any return on this apart from just enjoying the process.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, for me, like, part of my business is online. So as much as I love coming in and just sort of chatting shit and things like that, there is a bit of a sort of goal of it.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, I want to be able to help people online. I want to be able to connect with other people who are doing jiu-jitsu, lifting and things like that, connect with them online and be able to help, you know, because that is my business. But so far, there is no return on this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it's just fun.
It's just fun, isn't it? You know, but like it's fun, and also we're just trying to sort of, a lot of it's just chatting shit. Yeah. But there is some useful information in there.
Yeah, man, for sure. I feel like, I mean, you know, you're a lot more further along with the online stuff than I am. I've learned loads so far from you and from just doing it. You know, just doing the podcasting and just putting yourself out there is, it's half the battle, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just thinking, fuck it, just do it anyway. It might, the first few might not be perfect, but like you said, action is key, isn't it?
Yeah, but don't you think jiu-jitsu teaches you, like, every time you're on the mat, you're kind of like reinforcing the value of just sort of showing up with some sort of intention and like a plan, and executing on that plan, and then things happening as a result of it.
Definitely.
Like, but not being like super I guess one cliche we could say is like not being super focused on like getting your next belt.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to get your next belt? Like, if you just constantly like are thinking, I want my next belt, that doesn't get you the next belt.
Yeah.
Turning up to class, concentrating on like getting better at jiu-jitsu, putting in the hard rounds, being a good training partner, supporting other people, being consistent, and over time that next belt will just magically appear. Yeah,
that's right. You're absolutely right, because your focus has shifted then, isn't it? I think perspective, it's that whole adage of, life is 20% what happens to you and 80% how you perceive it. I think if you're not focusing on the belt, you're not counting the amount of times that you've done training and you haven't got promoted. You're just training.
Yeah.
And then, so your perception of when it happens is like, oh, okay, wow, amazing. That didn't expect that, because I'm focusing on trying to get better at jiu-jitsu. I think you eventually learn that, don't you? I think the other one is going with the plan. It's just accept, just not trying to win every round. I remember, being told that early on. It's true. You're on, it's such an old tired phrase, isn't it? But you're on your own journeys, and so is everybody else. I think that comparison culture can be quite toxic, can't it?
Do you think, like, to sort of keep running with like the sort of metaphor of jiu-jitsu influencing life, that like if you're trying to win every round, you're always trying to get a result?
Yeah.
Every time you come in, there's some sort of result.
Yeah.
But that's just not life, is it?
Yeah.
You can't get a result every time you sort of step into whatever arena it is, or every time you put pen to paper, or whatever it is you're trying to get better at.
Yeah.
And ultimately, eventually achieve something through.
Yeah.
That you're not always going to get a result every time you engage in whatever it is.
Definitely. It's like, have you read The War of Art by Stephen Presswell?
No.
It's another one I think I picked up from the Rogan podcast. I just read this. It's all about, you just keep showing up and put it or work against the resistance, that you called it. Of just, keep showing up, but you're not always going to, as you just said, you're not going to get the result you want every time, and it's going to happen probably a lot less than you expect. But you just got to keep showing up and actively improving. We were talking with Dusty earlier, weren't we, about just that kind of active improvement.
Mm.
But sometimes the increments are so small, aren't they? You might have just managed to get out of a certain position, or and sometimes not. Sometimes you might have had a really shit session, and you might have got ragdolled by everybody, and you might not be able to get any moves or escape anything, but you still showed up and you got you're still working on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're still, life ebbs and flows, right?
A lot of the time, those sessions where you feel like it was actually shit is like, that's where a lot of development is actually happening.
I've had numerous times where I've had a session like that and then got a promotion. I'm like, what? I had a shit session, but this,
But that wasn't really about that session, was it? It's just that you've been like focused on what is happening.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's not about that one time. That's I guess my point with it is it's a long thing, isn't it? So it's a long form thing. You should, your goal.
Yeah. Just gonna check the camera.
Yeah, no, you'll have to tell me if the microphone starts going away from my mouth, because I can't.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a beard that a monkey. No, sorry.
Come on. I'm going like this.
I don't know if a primate / ape has a beard, but whatever that is that's coming off your face is sort of
rubbing.
Yeah, so you might want to pull the mic slightly further away from your snout.
Todd.
Do humans have a snout? What qualifies as a snout?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know.
Because it's like that sort of like the muzzle, it like comes out. It's like the proceeding of the nose and like mouth, like that a pig would have, or a dog.
Yeah, pigs certainly have a snout.
Yeah.
You call a dog a snout, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Or like the muzzle.
Maybe it has to reach a certain level of pronunciation.
Maybe some humans do and others don't.
Yeah. Well, That would be a controversial comment. If we went any further with that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure, like most things in the way things are measured in nature, it's all about if somebody gets to a certain point, it then becomes
qualifies.
Yeah. But that's about what I know.
But yeah, I think. Yeah, I know jiu-jitsu, I think, has helped me a lot.
Yeah.
In life. And that's one of we spoke about this on like the episode about like sort of coaching kids and establishing your values. For me, that like personal development piece, it's like a really stark thing, like sort of example, let's say, of like a lot of growth, like factors, if you like, you know, like things that you need to be like ticking off to like grow. And it might be a business, it might be a relationship, it might be just grow as a person, like personal development. You know, it could be, you know, in your studies or whatever it is. You could turn it to any aspect of life. But like jiu-jitsu has all these sort of things that you go through them all on the mat every time you like step on the mat. And I think for me, like in my sort of stupid brain, like being able to be like, oh, I'm really struggling with this in my business or in my personal life. But like, this is just the same as like when I'm sparring and like, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm really struggling to be like patient. Like I want it all, I want it now. But like, you know, then I reflect like, well, look, like I wanted my blue belt really badly. But actually when I just stopped like caring about it and like just focused on like learning to get better at jiu-jitsu and like trying to build a little game and then like focus on a few competitions and then like, you know, eventually like trying to win a medal in a competition and what I needed to do that and achieve that. And then suddenly I got my blue belt. But like it wasn't because I was coming in every day being like, oh, I need to get my blue belt. It was more like I focused on that process and then just gave myself the time and space to be able to execute on that process, fell in love with the process. And then, you know, so it's all these, I just think it's really powerful. And I think it's like something that people, if they are struggling in an area of their life, could sort of reflect on and think, yeah, actually that is similar in jiu-jitsu. There's this little metaphor there. There's this little simile that I can kind of draw on and think, okay, if I can do that on the mat, I can do it in real life.
Yeah, that's it.
You know?
Because as we've said a million times, it's a very difficult thing, jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah, it's hard.
And I think if you are regularly putting yourself in these difficult spots, you're physically putting yourself in a difficult spot. And then, as you say, you're in your life mentally putting yourself in a difficult spot. So it's totally applicable. It's it's very amazing. It's amazing in that way. It's a very good teacher.
I think where do you in the belt level to run with this sort of, is it a simile or a metaphor? I'll explain. In the belt level, where do you think we are in the podcasting realms?
Oh, that would be a metaphor or an analogy. Or what?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's you're being metaphor.
Let's just add English. Let's add like wordsmith to the list of things that I am not.
It's a photosynthesis. It's
Let's go with that.
Let's go. I've lost you earlier. There you are.
I am like borderline losing it at the moment.
I'm so proud of you.
Talking to the ape, it is like there's going to be a point where I'm going to have to ask him to take it off.
I'm definitely proud of being sensible up until this point because I would be falling apart.
It's challenging.
Oh my god, I'm sweating.
So yeah, we're like episode 21. We are in the top 1%. So I guess that would mean that we're kind of like, what's the top 1% of jiu-jitsu? When we talk about like a belt level, it's got to be black belt, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think we're a black belt level of podcasting. I feel like the belt structure in podcasting is different to jiu-jitsu.
Maybe you just got a blue belt.
Yeah.
So we're in the 1%. Because that felt like, I don't know about you, but the blue, obviously, they're all very, very special when you get from the two that I've had so far. But the blue belt was the first point where you're like, oh man, like I'm kind of in the club.
I'm in the club, in the club. I'm 50 Cent.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Maybe that's it. Maybe we're in the 1% club. So maybe this is the blue belt, and then, maybe once we've got to a certain mark of followers, and we got some, some traction. We got some really good guys in so far, haven't we? It's maybe that's the purple belt level.
Yeah, maybe like
we got some great traction with Chris, didn't we?
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
Obviously.
Yeah, we're up to 73 subscribers now.
No joke.
Thank you to those 4 that took us over the 70 mark.
Thanks,
really
Ben.
means a lot. Thanks, Ben, Ruben, Louis, and Violet.
Solidarity.
Yeah, maybe it's not like that. Maybe it's like the judo belt system where like we are black belt, but we've just started.
Right. Okay.
That's the qualification of your like basic training.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, this does feel like we've just got a new belt.
Yeah, I think probably blue belt would be about right. Like we've still got a lot of development to go. There's loads of stuff that we're still learning, but like we've sort of got the basics roughly down.
I really like this, the metaphor though. I think Dan Strauss has talked about this in various different podcasts where he talks about using that, as like you say, as a metaphor for anything that you're learning. I think he's really into his chess. He talks about that. I'm a so-and-so belt, really, I would say, in chess.
Yeah.
I'm a this belt in that. It's a great way of, and a lot of people, kind of, especially in modern jiu-jitsu, kind of shit on the belt ranking system, but it is a great measure of your progress in anything, isn't it? If you can use that metaphor in life, definitely.
Yeah, I think with the it is. What do you think you are in music?
Well, I'm a black belt in karaoke.
Pro karaoke.
I don't know. I mean, I've been playing in bands for nearly 30 years.
You got to be a black belt.
Yeah, so I would hope.
Like I'd say, like a third degree black belt in music.
Yeah, I guess
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been doing it a while, but yeah, I would hope so. Anyway,
that's an interesting one. In the comments, if you feel that you're a black belt in something, put it in the comments. We won't don't worry about being showy. Just put it in the comments.
Yeah, because see what kind of a range of different skills we get.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I've been thinking about the belt system lately because, like, if you just think about it, like, oh, Helena Craver got her brown belt the other day, and someone said, like, do you think she's a brown belt? And I was like, well, she is a brown belt. Yes, she's better than me at jiu-jitsu, no doubt. But she is a brown belt because on her journey, that is where she's got to. And it really like cemented it home in my head. I've been with the rise of like no-gi and like so many like blue belts and purple belts, like winning world championships at black belt level, going in like medaling at ADCC and stuff. It kind of poo-poos the belt system.
I know what you mean.
But that is based on the premise that the belt system is comparing everyone to each other. And actually, it's not that, is it? Yeah. The belt system is you on your journey. Yeah. So if you are quite clearly very capable and like and you want it and you're like, I want to be a world champion, that's your journey. Yeah. So you're going to get your brown belt when it's right for you on your journey, not compared to like Jimmy, who's like 60, doesn't want to enter competition, is just there because his son's doing it. He might get his brown belt like a lot quicker and he might be a lot less talented and technically able than you are, but like that's his journey. Yeah. And like the two things don't correlate. There's no like correlation between that. There's no comparison like, oh yeah, but he's a brown belt and he's a brown belt. It's like, but for his journey, he's got to that point now where he's a brown belt. And for your journey, you've got to that point where you're a brown belt. Like, and it doesn't matter. The technical side of it is less important. It's more about that person's development from when they started to where they're at.
Yeah, man. That's great. And that's what's so kind of almost spiritual about it, isn't it? And it blows that comparison culture even further out of the water, doesn't it? But Cole was talking about this the other day, about belt stuff and how various people, one of our guys had just got his brown belt and he was saying exactly the same thing, that he's at that, Diogo was at that, that was the right time to do it. Yeah. Sort of thing. And it's not just about, you can do these moves or whatever, these moves, you have this level of skills, therefore you tick the boxes and you get that.
Yeah, it's not about that.
It's a different thing, man. Yeah, and it's such a good point. It makes it even more kind of magical in a way, because it's like, oh, cool. It's just me that is progressing, rather than, oh God, well this guy that I started with, he's a bit further ahead than me. So it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
It is irrelevant.
And you know what? Like, all adults come in different places, but they're all adults. So we kind of judge everyone kind of equally. We're like, well, that person's 30, he's just started. That person's 20, he's just started. That person's 40. They're all white belts. And we know they're going to progress at different rates and things. And there's only 5 belts to give out. Blue, purple, brown, black. There's only 4 belts to give out. But Whereas with the kids, it's really stark because you've got little Jimmy, who's now 4. He's not 60 anymore. He started when he's 4. And then you've got Mario, who started when he was 12.
Yeah.
They're both white belts.
Yeah.
They're both going to get their grey and white belt at some point. Then they're going to get their grey belt and they're going to work their way through. So again, like if we're going to use like a skill-based thing, Mario's going to get his grey belt in 6 months, let's say.
Yeah.
Little Jimmy, he's not going to acquire that same level of skill for like 3 years.
Yeah.
So he's not going to get his grey and white belt for 3 years.
Yeah.
He's just going to stop probably. Yeah. So like, and I've been like back and forth on this, like how do I judge like the kids' belts and things like that? You know, how do I compare it to the adult belts and things? But like that whole thing about this is about your journey is so important because, you know, really little Jimmy should get his like thingy belt after like, let's say 6 months. If he's been attending regularly, like I'm just using 6 months as an example, but if he's been attending regularly, he's helping his like classmates, like he's being a really good training partner, you know, all the things that we would tick off. And he's getting better. You can see he's getting better. He gets his grey and white belt. But he's not going to be as good as Mario, who started at 12, and he gets to 6 months. He's going to be much better, probably. Maybe not. But he's going to be much better because he's just at a different key stage, so he can acquire their skills much quicker.
Yeah. Plus, he's got really good grip strength from all that plumbing that he does.
Exactly. And he identifies as being 12, but actually he's 26.
Yeah, he's a 26-year-old Italian.
It's a big problem. But yeah, all right, just
you got it.
You got in there. A bit slow on you. This guy's fasted as well, and he's clearly
fasted.
Jesus. So yeah, it really kind of like brings it back to the fact that it's your journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not about anyone else. It's not about technique and how good you are. I mean, it is to a degree, but like it's about how good you are compared to you previously.
And man, that's an even harder thing to get across the kids.
Yeah,
because that comparison, we said before, that emotion's so raw, so close to the surface that they see their friends getting promoted, and it's like literally just the basic building blocks of, well, he's got something I haven't got, and I feel like I'm working as hard as him. It's a harder thing to get that kind of concept across, especially below a certain age. But I think most kids, it's going to be how they've got to learn that. That's going to be harder to get across to them than adults, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I think it's also hard as a coach. Because if we say, okay, comparative skill isn't what I'm going to grade on. And I'm going to grade on, what I mean is comparative skill. So we've got 2 jiu-jitsu people. This person being better than that person doesn't influence their progression, their who's going to get promoted.
Yeah.
But just this person being better than he previously was is what I'm going to judge it on.
Yeah.
Like, you have to kind of constantly remind yourself, because you might just watch someone and be like, man, he's just smashing everyone. I need to give him a promotion. But actually, like, he might not have actually progressed that much in the last 3 months. It's just that he's better than everyone else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah.
And maybe he's not really been turning up that much.
Yeah.
But he's just better than everyone else.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, you need to sort of constantly think, right, that guy is doing really well, but like, has he been putting in the time? Has he been putting in the hours? Is he a good teammate? Is he better than he was 6 months ago? Like, probably is, but like, or is it the first time I've seen him in like 3 months? But he's just naturally a good mover and he's big and, you know?
Totally. You're rewarding effort and progression, aren't you, I guess? But I think it's, man, it must be such an undertaking. It's one of your position for the kids or Colin's position with all the adults to have all of those people's journeys in your mind constantly running. Think, I need to stay on top of this and make sure I'm giving the people what they deserve is the wrong word, but just what they've earned.
What they've earned, yeah. It is a challenge, and I think, you know what, I understand why people have very linear, like, formulaic, like, promotion structures.
Yeah.
Like, we spoke about this from a business perspective, but just from, like, a managing it perspective.
Yeah.
If you were like, right, I've got this syllabus, and if you tick things off, you get promoted. I get that, because it's easier to run.
Totally.
Like, it's easier to be like, right, oh, look, you've ticked off your sheet. You're going to get your stripe tonight or your next belt. Like, that is easy to follow. Like, when you're training other people, it's probably the same when you do, like, music and stuff. Some people, when you, like, come in contact with other trainers, they've got these, like, systems that they follow, and you think, like, wow, that's really good. Firstly, that's really good that you created that system.
Yeah.
And secondly, that must be so easy to run. It's just like headache gone of like, right, what we going to teach today? Or like, how am I going to judge this person, or what do they need? Like all those personal little things, rather than just doing that, being like plug and play. Let's just do this system. Everyone is catered and it's done. I can see why people do that because it's easier, but it's shit. It doesn't work. It's flawed. Like it's and for the reasons we just said, like just because Jimmy can do all these things on a list, that like doesn't mean that he deserves his next belt, because maybe he's a fucking arsehole.
Yeah, this is it.
And he's just being a twat to all his training partners.
Yep. And that that is definitely and is in our team, definitely, and should be in any team really, is are you a good team member?
That is my number one.
Yeah, especially for the kids.
Yeah, for the kids. Like for adults, sometimes people will be arseholes, but it's funny.
Yeah, and also, totally, and also like, you're not, I don't know, you're not, like we said before, you're not teaching the adults to be good people.
You're not.
In that hour and a half, 2 hours.
That's too far gone.
Yeah, the ink is dry on some of the M-words, doesn't it, right? But with kids, you are helping to mould them, especially for boys, because I think, I read somewhere a while ago that boys between a certain age, I forget what the numbers are, maybe let's say between 9 and 14, they're looking for external role models, other male role models, as well as their dad, if they've got a dad.
Yeah.
And so that in that time we're doing jiu-jitsu with them, that is our job, as well as teaching them jiu-jitsu, and to, is to help be role models and help mold them into good adults, really.
Yeah.
Right? And I think, again, that metaphor of jiu-jitsu is there's so many moralistic lessons there, isn't there?
Definitely.
And being a good team member has got to be number one, right?
Yeah.
Being realizing it's not always all about you, which is a huge thing. All kids are, on some level, they're all little bloody narcissists when they're
they are. Yeah.
I know how I feel, but it's important to take on that role and get your arms around it completely, right?
It is, and some of the times that I'll dish out the most promotions is when I've seen all these kids just dialing it down, dialing it up, being good with the little ones, a new person, they're helping them out, and I'm just
amazing.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? And it's really good when you see someone do that for the first time as well.
Yeah, because then it's they've learned.
You're oh, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. Yeah. And then, but at the same time, you see them with their own game, with their peers and people their own size and their own training partners that are, putting it on, and been actually getting better at their game, but then they can, as you say, they can just alter it to suit smaller people or younger kids, or they're becoming little coaches themselves.
Yeah,
that's wicked when you see that.
Yeah, and I think something as coaches we have to be very careful with our language as well, because I know for some time, a lot of the time I'll it's difficult, isn't it? Because you don't want to not give someone positive feedback that they've technically done a really good job today. Yeah. That's fine to do, but you also want to make sure you're giving them verbal positive feedback that they're being a good training partner.
Yes, definitely.
Because I think just instilling that value, like we just said, is really important. I think the main thing in a kids program. But if you never tell the kids oh man, I saw you with that person today and that was really good, you're doing a really good job there, keep going, and you only ever say oh wow, that was a wicked armbar, oh that was a good wicked triangle, oh you performed really well today, you're valuing the performance over everything else. So then that's going to breed the culture that right, to get positive feedback from coach, I just need to smash people.
Yeah. And
I need to be the best.
Definitely.
And it's
totally. And you have to remind yourself, a lot of them, they're hanging on every word you say.
Yeah.
In that session, because or they very much value your opinion, at least, in the same way that you are with your own kids, where you are having an effect on them constantly. And I think your opinion is very important to them. I know our own children probably heard that quite well.
No, but you see it, don't you? And then sometimes you'll say something and you'll think, oh, why did I say that?
Yeah, totally. You got to be on. You got to be constantly checking in with yourself. And you're absolutely right. Am I outwardly valuing the right things? I'm gonna have to move this because I can't see you at all.
Okay, thank God. Oh, I thought it was coming up. It's fine. So we were having a conversation earlier, and this kind of fits in now. How do you breed high performers, world champions? Do you know what I mean? How do you? And I'm talking adult world champions, so people that get to the top 1%, much like us. Is it 1%? Yeah. How do you create that? Because we're talking about creating good training partners and things like that, and that is part of the process.
Yeah.
But if what do you need to do in a kids program to take someone who's I want to be a world champion, and be right, okay, we're going to make you into a world champion. Like, what do you as a coach need to do, and what does that person need inside them to make that happen? Steroids, so tick that box.
Yes. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know whether it's just something. It's like trying to create a viral video, right? You just can't be done, but it needs to happen naturally. I wonder whether there's a point
factor.
Yeah, and there's, like we said earlier, there's some kids in our team who are young kids who are absolutely flying, but the boys they might and the girls, they might discover, boys or girls, or might get a bit into their later teens and discover alcohol or whatever, and they might have at one point been like, oh my god, this kid's going to be a world champion, and then they just find something else,
flitter away.
Yeah, and so I think it's the kind of thing where maybe an older teen comes to you, or whatever, or maybe a kid in their younger 20s who says, I want to do that. That's your green light then, to be like, right, I just don't know whether you can engineer that too much, if you know what I mean.
But if you think, like, there must be a way, because, like, teams like AOJ are doing it regularly.
Maybe, yeah.
They're taking, your likes of a Cole Abate. I don't know when he started there, but it was young. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was an orange belt, and yellow belt, and things like that. And he probably started at a different club.
Yeah.
And then he went there as a youngster, probably, I don't know at what age. And now he's an adult winning world championship. So, like, is that just driven by his desire to succeed predominantly? Or is it like they're seeing, like, this guy's talented, let's put him into our, like, champions pathway, and we're going to do all these things to mold him and like make sure we're talking to him in the right way, and all these, like, I'd love to know what their process is. Not that I necessarily want to do that, but like it's really interesting, isn't it? How do you take someone from that young tender age who's showing promise and turn them into a world champion?
And it's going to be different every time with each kid, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Because of different personalities.
So there's going to have to be a personalised approach. But when you look at somewhere like AOJ and they are repeatedly doing it, there must be some sort of systematic. There must be certain parts of the journey that are quite systematic that they just do with everyone. Like, because I don't know. Yeah.
So who was the first kid who like started winning
from AOJ?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I would say the Ruotolos are obviously.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
They were probably their first like big product.
Yeah.
And obviously they went over to Atos, but they started at AOJ, and I think AOJ and Atos were like kind of linked for a long time under the same bracket, and then they sort of split off. And I think the Ruotolos stayed at Atos, but like they were the first ones from there.
Right. Because I wonder, that was kind of to my point. I wonder whether, like the AOJ, the Ruotolos are just superstars, right? And whether whether the culture that was created by them being so successful then just created almost like a viral video, where it's just like, people were like, oh my God,
as an example.
And then they started like, I've got to start creating a proper system here. And then all the kids, and they're out there. I mean, that kid that my Ben fought against, it was what were they, 9 at the time, and this kid had like 112 wins or something. There's kids out there that are out there every weekend doing it. Maybe then all of those kind of kids gravitated towards somewhere like AOJ, so then they could create a system, and they didn't get that huge dynamic in a class like we get. It's all the ones that want to be killers.
There's definitely a factor. I think there's definitely a factor of that. I imagine
creates a culture, doesn't it?
In America, like if you've got a kid and they're like really into jiu-jitsu, they're showing that they are passionate about it and they're into it. You're not forcing them to go. Yeah. They're like, I love this.
Yeah.
And they're showing a bit of promise, and you're like, you've got like a work situation where you could move.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of people that do move that and think, look, let's put you in that, because like you could be something.
Yeah.
Let's invest in our child and like let's go all in.
Yeah, absolutely.
In UK, I don't know, like the Brit School for like acting and music and things like that. If your child was showing a real like passion and they were really good, and you think they could be like a famous actor or musician, like let's move up to Richmond and put them in the Brit School. Like,
and they've got
people will do that, won't they?
Totally, and they've got a string of very successful, very famous performers that have come from that. So the evidence is there that it works.
Yeah,
and it's the same with the analogy with the AOJ. It's like the system clearly works for the right kid. So you're not going to get...
It's taking a punt on your kid, essentially.
Yeah, completely. But I guess the promise has to come... Promise, wrong word, but like the potential has to come from the kid first, doesn't it? And
yeah, it does. Yeah, and the interest. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in our team we've certainly got a few who are very interested.
Yeah.
In jiu-jitsu, they love it. They turn up all the time. They're like really passionate about it. You speak to their family, and they say the same thing. Like, oh, they're always talking about it, and all this sort of stuff. And that's amazing, isn't it? Like, so you think how, like, if you said to them, "Do you want to be a world champion?" They wouldn't be like, nah.
Yeah.
They'd be like, yeah, I do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, what do you do for that person to get them there? Like, it might not happen, but like, give them the best chance.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, you're going to be putting them through all more challenges than the other kids, and putting them like some of our kids, they join the adult class. That I think that probably the older teen or mid to older teens, they get an awful lot from that because they're put in there with people who are bigger and better than them. And they're constantly rolling with someone who's teaching them, like, and they're heavier, they can't. So every round is some sort of a big challenge where the odds are stacked against them. That's going to toughen them up and make their game a lot better. And it's not someone who's bigger and tougher who's just smashing them. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I think you need the mix, don't you? You need the mix of like rolling with your peers who are going to go at you 100%.
Yeah,
and you've got this really like sort of dynamic competitive round. Yeah, and then rolling with like adults who are much bigger than you, so basically are going a bit easier on you, but they're giving you maybe a more technical round because they are better. Yeah, and then you get a bit of a blend of the two. I think if you only have one of those as a child, you're missing the other one.
Yeah, Dana has said about that the percentage, isn't it? But 80-20, is it? Like 80% people that aren't as good as you and 20% people that are just going to smash you. Yeah, you definitely need that. Yeah,
because I think if you only roll with people who are going easy on you, when you actually do roll with someone who's not going easy on you, you're suddenly like, oh, what's going on here? Like, I'm getting not just that like there's more resistance and stuff, but you're getting completely different reactions.
Yeah,
because when I flow rolling with someone, I try and give as like an accurate a reaction as possible, but it's not actually an accurate reaction because like the intensity that I might grab someone's heel in reverse de la Riva, like they might just be able to like pull their leg out. Yeah, so I'm just like going nice and light. But if I'm going hard, I'm going to grab that heel and they're not getting their heel out. Yeah. And then suddenly they're like, oh, the thing I usually do to escape this isn't working. Well, because you developed an answer to that situation based on me just being very light and flowy. Yeah. That's not real.
Yeah, man. You need to drill the answer to the answer.
You need to actually understand how to deal with it against a fully resisting partner. So it's like you need to have those rounds where the other person's trying to take your head off. Yeah, man. If you don't have that, you're not going to develop as well.
Yeah, so on the flip side of that, as we said before, you need those rounds where you can try your new stuff, or your new game, or whatever. The stuff.
Well, that's different. So that's like, so you're right. But what I mean is like, you need all the types of rounds. So you need the rounds where someone's trying to take your head off, but they're just much worse than you.
Yeah.
And so that's fine, but they're really trying, but like they're just shit. So like you can just work on certain things. And then you need the rounds where like someone's same level as you and better than you, and both of those people are trying to smash you as well, like those rounds. And then like some flowy rounds where people are kind of letting you work. Like it's all useful, isn't it?
It is, definitely. You get different things from each thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this off.
Yes.
I'm like I'm in a sauna. And I would have gotten away from it as well.
I feel like I've just come out of a box. Like the change in your voice, like I feel like I've just emerged from like
what we should have done?
A containment cell
of control. Don't lose it.
Did you know it was Steve?
Well, I was just going to say, wouldn't it be funny if I took it off and it was like somebody else?
Just Brian.
And I morphed the accent into that, actually.
Oh dear.
Oh,
yeah.
God. So that was a shift. That was.
I'm impressed.
Thanks, man.
You did really well there. You did really well.
Jesus Christ.
Is that an accurate ape's hand? Do you think?
It looks a bit bigger than an ape's hand. I think that. Do you know? I was looking at a picture the other day of a chimp's hand, and it's a chimp who's got vitiligo. Is it the skin condition?
Yeah, where it goes like white. My dad's got it.
Does he?
Yeah.
And it shows this chimp. He's got vitiligo on his hand, and it just shows like how close they are to humans.
Right. Yeah,
because it just looks like it looks. I mean, fingers are a bit sort of like fatter, but they look like human fingers. It's absolutely crazy. So I don't know. I guess size-wise, they look a bit like fucking werewolf fingers. To be fair, don't they?
I was gonna say, I feel like
To be fair, the mask itself looks a bit werewolfy too. Look, it's a bit American Werewolf in London, isn't it?
It's difficult to say. I mean, it's quite gorilla-y, but
It's the bottom teeth.
yeah.
Scared the shit out of my wife last night with this.
yeah, good.
She was just quietly,
Were you naked at the time?
of course, yeah. That's how
I was going to take that. I was going to go deeper, but I realised we were.
No pun intended. Yeah, that feels so much better. Oh, God damn it. It's sweaty. It's like a little mini sauna, you know? And coming from today with everyone weighing in and at the gym.
We were at the shock and awe weigh-in. Not actually, we were sort of just before the official weigh-in, but everyone's like weighing in, checking their weights.
Sauna
They had a
outside the gym.
sauna outside.
It's looking wicked, actually.
Yeah, it's if you ever get to experience it, you should go and do it. It's like, I don't want to like be too offensive, but I guess it's kind of like being on like a film set and they're filming a film about Auschwitz. Is that offensive? Don't know. But like people are like gaunt. Like people look half dead.
There's a lot of cheekbones.
Yeah, there's a lot of cheekbones. People are a bit like unsteady, walking around like.
Crap them.
Yeah, it's a bit like a homeless shelter, like a crack den as well. Yeah, like
Everyone's
people are just serious. They've got like a look in their eye, like, you know, and you don't really want to make any jokes about food because you feel like someone might start eating.
Or smack you in the face.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really full of like thin dudes who look like one to go and kill you.
Yeah. Not how they look when they're walking into the cage.
No. Weight cutting's mad, isn't it?
It's mad. I think they should do away with it.
I've said this to Gareth recently about it, but I'm
not like shock and awe necessarily, but I think
just
the whole
fight sports.
MMA, like
fight
sports thing needs to do away with day before weigh-ins.
I think one do hydration tests as well, don't they?
But I think, I've heard that like there's even
flaws.
That's not necessarily a good thing because people will then just like
game it.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm not going to sort of comment on it because I'll get it wrong. But they spoke about what people would do to pass those hydration tests, and like it wasn't healthy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but I can't remember exactly what it was. But it was something about them like keeping themselves like at too low a body weight, like all the time, and like sort of missing the point. You know, it's like whenever like we've spoken about this before. I think like when like grappling events try and put in like specific rules to create an outcome. Usually, it creates the opposite outcome.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's
because people play the system, don't they?
Yeah, like in ADCC, the first like half of the match is like no points to try and get everyone to open up. But actually, everyone's even more cagey because they're not willing to. Then they wait till the points and then they start opening up, and it's like, oh, you're doing the exact opposite of what we wanted.
Yeah.
So
hard because people are people, aren't they? Everyone's trying to get an edge.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, you got a big hair. I think it's from your monkey's face, the microphone. But look, Abe, I think we're coming to a natural conclusion there for episode 21. Actually, it's not actually. I mean, it is episode 21, but it's kind of.
Oh, yeah. The Chris Thompson one was a separate.
Yeah, I think it is episode 21, but I just think we've already recorded episode 22. So,
well, that's right. We're just
smashing it.
Yeah, we're actually ahead of ourselves now.
Yeah,
which is good.
I wonder how you get into the top 0.1%. So that would be if it's 0.1%, that would be the top 2,000 podcasts. There must be a billboard somewhere, mustn't there? Like, or is it a billboard? Like a chart?
Oh, yeah.
The top one, and
our Will is one for that, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think Will should be our young Jamie.
So I wonder. I guess they sort of collate like the Spotify, YouTube, Apple podcast, like Apple whatever it's called, music sort of things, and look at all the listens and stuff, and then collate like a who's the number one podcast.
Yeah.
I wonder how far they go down though. Like how low do they go?
Yeah, it's a question for ChatGPT. But I think again, like you said before, you add in jiu-jitsu podcasts into that. You know that's the 1% of all podcasts of any subject.
Yeah.
Whereas I wonder what the number is for jiu-jitsu podcasts.
I reckon there's probably I reckon there's 200 jiu-jitsu podcasts.
Should we chat GPT it? Let's
let's find out live on air. We don't
go in.
Crikey. Yeah, how many jiu-jitsu podcasts exist across all platforms? Maybe put something like that.
Okay.
I reckon there's probably about 200. Maybe I'm lowballing it though. There's maybe 2,000. If there's only 2 million podcasts, can't be that many, can it?
No, it's still quite a niche thing, isn't it? In the grand scheme of things. How many jiu-jitsu podcasts exist across all platforms? Searching the web. Stand by.
Oh, we're getting a big answer. What's happening? Are we getting some numbers?
That's been a bit.
Just breaking it down into like platforms, no?
Player FM features a collection
Yeah, fair
titled Best Jiu-Jitsu Podcast 25 Highlighting 50 notable podcasts in this category. 50. Feed Spot, 40 of the best. Good Pods.
But these could be overlaps, though, couldn't they?
Yeah. This doesn't even give you a number. So these curated lists suggest that there are at least 50, that's a good number, isn't it? 50 jiu-jitsu focused podcasts available across various platforms. However, the actual number may be higher considering independent and emerging podcasts, that may not be featured in these compilations. So yeah, I mean...
Yeah, because we're not on any of those providers.
No. Interesting. Okay, what about... He hasn't mentioned things like... I would say that Spotify and YouTube and stuff would be...
The biggest Apple... Is it Apple Music?
Yeah.
I think Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube would be like the biggest hosters of podcasts.
Yeah. Let's put that. What about Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube?
Yeah. Stupid AI. I should have worked that out.
Honestly.
It's supposed to be clever.
Come on.
Fuck a dickhead.
Ridiculous. What he's thinking.
Oh. Didn't like that.
Network connection was lost. That's convenient.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
When the AI is trying to fucking shoot me with a missile, it's not going to say, "Oh, network connection was lost." It's going to fucking work it out, isn't it?
It'll find a way.
Dickhead.
Honestly, the platform hosting newest Beauty and the Gi, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu explores the intersection of life and on and off the mat. So he's not giving me numbers on Apple, or no, it's not. It's just telling me about what like many podcasts have channels on YouTube for Jiu-Jitsu. It's being rather vague.
I think,
What's going on?
ChatGPT is stupid, mate.
Ridiculous. You know what? So, obviously we're all asking ChatGPT all sorts of things, aren't we, these days? But there have been a number of times when I've asked it a question, and I've then gone, well, hang on, what about that? And it's gone, oh, yep, sorry, I got that wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't always get things right.
Yeah.
No way.
I saw a great little excerpt from another podcast recently. It's like some business expert, and he was saying the question was how do the top entrepreneurs use things like ChatGPT to their advantage to give them an advantage.
Yeah.
And he was saying your own ChatGPT, you should be training it to become a digital extension of you.
Right.
Your needs.
So every time you ask it something, it sort of learns more about you, doesn't it?
Totally. And so you should be helping that.
Yeah.
All the things you want and in your personal life, in your working life, training it to become a digital extension of you, because it's got obviously way more processing power and information at its disposal.
Yeah.
Which is it's a crazy concept, that, isn't it? Maybe
it is. Yeah, it's interesting.
Like, maybe one day in a generation or two we'll start actually merging with that and becoming. I
think so. I think
becoming a digital version of ourselves anyway.
Yeah, I think in our lifetime we will definitely see digital merging. I mean, we've already seen it, haven't we? Like with
we're wearing. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So but I think it will become in our lifetime, certainly our children's. I think it will become like a common thing that most people have, like a chip inside them, and it's like you can film through your eyes, or I don't know what it'll be, but I think we're already almost merged because we carry it everywhere that we go.
Yeah.
I think the next stage is literally just it becoming like.
Yeah. Well, we're already a step beyond that with wearable technology.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We're wearing Apple Watches, and do you know what I mean?
Colin had those glasses the other day.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
so maybe that will be like the next evolution where everything will become wearable.
Yeah.
Like, so it'll be like glasses, and like they'll show a little thing on the screen, which I think you already get.
Google glasses. And
Google glasses.
Yeah.
So maybe that will just become much more commonplace. Like, they might develop a little, what do you call it?
Contact lens.
Contact lens, yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess the next stage beyond that is Enya, like the Neuralink thing.
Enya,
yeah. She is the god of all things. It'll be part of your body. It'll be, which is for our generation is terrifying, but that's because.
But
it's a very new thing.
You know what? They've actually been doing this for ages, because if you look on YouTube, there's a Vice video about it's not biohacking, because that's a slightly different thing, but it's something like that, and they maybe use that same word. But there's people like put like microchips in their like wrist, and they had like basic functions like scanning in and out of buildings and things like that. And there was like a sort of underground subsection of people that were like into this like biohacking sort of thing. And most of it was about like embedding chips under the skin for various different processes.
Yeah.
So it's already kind of happened in some areas, but I think it will become much more. The merging with technology, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. I think if we're
from an evolutionary standpoint.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't necessarily think we should do it, but like I could see that it's already happening.
Maybe that's what we're here to do. Maybe that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to create this stuff and then merge with it and then go off into the cosmos somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's the point of it all.
I wonder if that's how you live forever.
Yeah, maybe.
Because you become like a digital, like collection of things and
energy.
Don't know.
Yeah. Deep.
We'll call it there.
Yeah.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Put a comment down below. Tell us what you're a black belt in.
Yeah.
And we will congratulate you.
Yeah.
We're now big shots. So if you see us, come and introduce yourself.
We will come to you.
Yeah,
we won't talk to you. There'll be a team between you and us.
But if you do manage to get close enough, then I will shake your hand.
Yeah. For a fee. Of course.
Yeah. Tonight we're going to enjoy rolling with some high-level guys and getting smashed up. So we'll talk about that next time. And we'll see you next time.
See you later, guys.
Nice.
Yeah.